Alright, so the Keychron Q1. This is a really interesting board. At first, I just wrote it off as another GMMK Pro ripoff. I had a very bad first impression with the keyboard. I really didn't like it. But as I spent more time with the keyboard and tried different things out, I gradually started to like it a lot more. So let's take a look. The Keychron Q1 comes in a pretty nice box. We have a switch and keycap holder, both of which are pretty standard stuff. They did surprise me though with this really nice coiled cable. The coil is extremely elastic, it holds its shape really well, and the braiding feels amazing. The aviator is also a great inclusion and it's a really nice touch. It's definitely not as high quality as other premium cables like this one from Space Cables, but it's still really good. The board also comes with some extra keycaps, gasket strips, and switches. The switches are called the Keychron Phantoms and they come in 3 models: browns, blues, and reds. They are 3-pin switches with a minimal amount of housing wobble and they do come factory lubed. My personal favorite are the Phantom Reds. They actually sound and feel pretty decent. And of course, we also have the Q1 itself. This is the fully assembled version, so the keyboard comes with the keycaps, switches, and stabilizers already installed, but there is a bare bones option if you want it without any of the components. The overall build quality of the keyboard is pretty good. It has a decent weight to it, the aluminium is anodized pretty well, and the machining is great. The edges are nicely filleted, the corners are rounded off, and the board has a polished, smooth look to it. The back of the board is also cleaner than my browsing history. It's just super minimal and I really like it. The USB port is also located on the top left of the keyboard along with the switch to convert between a Mac and Windows layout. And I think that this is a great feature. It just makes it more accessible to both Mac and Windows users without compromising on the main aspects of a custom keyboard. It's a win-win. The board uses an exploded 75% layout because, you know, gotta follow the hype train. And it's pretty much identical to GMMK Pro. I think we all saw that from a mile away. But instead of the knob, the Q1 has a badge and 3 switches instead of 4 on the top right column. Oh wait, the Q1 will be getting a knob in the future. So it's basically the same.
Nice approach!
The badge has my logo on it, but you can actually get your own custom badge made on their website. It costs $30 US, so it is fairly pricey, but you can put anything you want on it. I know Keychron thought this was a good idea, and I mean, it is, but you give the internet freedom to do anything, and I mean, they're gonna put, yeah, all jokes aside, that is some top-notch customizability and I am all for it. The nice part is that you can actually remove the badge from the top housing and it opens up so that you can use an additional switch on the top right. The keycaps that come with the board are also not that great. The printing is slightly inconsistent, it feels cheap, and overall it's just not very high quality. I would advise you not to get them and get some other budget keycaps if possible. The top and bottom housing are held together by 8 large gold Allen screws, and honestly, these are some great screws. I never thought I'd say that, but they're really good to the point where I actually had to mention it. They're large, girthy, and thick, and are much more durable than my relationship with my ex-wife. On a real note, dismantling the keyboard is a very annoying process. You have to unscrew 8 main screws on the bottom housing, then another 6 on the PCB, and after that, you have to carefully take out the ribbon connecting it to the daughter board, and then you finally remove the 2 remaining screws on the daughter board. Only then can we take out the PCB and modify the keyboard. The bottom housing also has a very thin piece of foam stuck onto it, but it's so thin that I'm pretty sure it's just a napkin one of the employees left when they were working on the keyboard. It makes almost no difference in terms of acoustics, but you know, it's still there, so good job.
You earned a bronze medal.
All jokes aside, Keychron will be adding thicker pieces of foam into the Q1 and I think that's a really good idea. The Q1 also has a custom aluminum plate and a 75% hot swap PCB. There will be more plates coming soon, but for now there's only an aluminum plate. The PCB uses a 5-pin south-facing configuration which avoids keycap interference at the cost of slightly dimmer RGB, and the 5-pin design means that you don't have to clip any legs to use 5-pin switches. The one I have uses an ANSI layout, but there will also be ISO layouts available as well as soldered PCBs in the future. The PCB also comes fully equipped with QMK and VIA, which is really nice. You can easily adjust the keybinds and RGB on the software and it's just super convenient. The Keychron Q1 uses Keychron screw-in PCB stabs which come pre-clipped and are factory lubed. The factory lubing is slightly inconsistent like my upload schedule, but it's not bad, but they still don't sound that great either, so I definitely recommend modding them. In comparison to the GMMK Pro, I would say that the factory lubing on the Keychron stabs are slightly better. The stock Keychron stabs are definitely noticeably better than the stock GOAT stabs. Alright, so the Keychron Q1 is gasket mounted because Marketing. Yeah. But to be fair, I have to give credit to the Q1 because they have taken a much better approach than the GMMK Pro. The GMMK Pro's gasket mount was notoriously stiff and it made for a very stiff typing experience. The Q1 on the other hand is a trampoline. The Keychron Q1 has 8 really thick pieces of foam on the sides of the plate and it makes the typing experience really bouncy and flexible. On top of that, they've also given a lot of room for the plate to travel vertically, which makes it feel really bouncy. However, because of how much space there is, the board has become a ping monster. It's a pongster. I should copyright that, BRB. The Tofu is still the undefeated pongster, but the Q1 is definitely a close second. Ugh. Oh my god. Alright, let's talk about how to make this board sound and feel as good as possible. So the first step is of course to get rid of the phantom browns. They're trash, and after I removed all the phantom browns, I was actually about to throw them all away. But then I remembered, you know, someone might actually want these phantom browns. If I threw them away, they would be an actual waste. I remember that there's someone in this world who loves browns more than anyone ever could. Hey, glasses, yo! So I got some phantom browns and I was just wondering if you wanted them.
No! Enough is enough! Hamaji, you have called me 17 times in the last 2 days and every single time you said, hey glasses, do you want some brown switches? No! I don't! I don't want your brown switches!
Yeah. Alright, guess not. So the first thing I wanted to tackle are the stabilizers. I'm gonna start off by cleaning the stabilizers with some warm water and soap to clear out all the factory lube. And after the stabilizer stems have dried, I'm going to use the Holy mod. It's a really helpful mod for Radley stabilizers and I highly recommend you check out my tutorial if you haven't already. So once we're done with the Holy mod, we're going to lube the stabilizers with some Krytox 205G0. The Holy mod will make the stabilizers sound and feel mushy at first, but it will go away as you break them in. So for the switches, I'm going to be using Alpaca V2s. These are linear switches with a 62-gram weight spring with 205G0 on the housings and stem and GPL 105 on the springs. They are much smoother than the stock Phantom Reds and I think it will really help to improve the sound of the board. The next part I want to focus on is the case itself. One of the main selling points of the Keychron Q1 is the typing experience. It's bouncy and the amount of flex it has is really nice. But as a result, the sound signature is really pingy and it sounds extremely hollow. So let's try to fix that. So the first thing I tried was some thin packing foam that I had lying around. It's not the thickest or densest foam, but it will still be a lot better than the piece of tissue paper that came with the Q1. And it was definitely an improvement, but there was still a lot of pinging and it still sounded pretty hollow. So after that, I tried using some sorbethane. Sorbethane is a very dense and thick foam and it is really good at getting rid of pinging and resonance in a board. It was almost too effective. The spacebar still had that nice pop, but the rest of the board just sounded dead and the flex was completely gone. I basically remade the GMMK Pro with a Keychron Q1. So after that, I tried out the tape mod. I put like 3 to 4 layers of masking tape below the PCB and by itself, it did make a bit of a difference, but it was still a little bit hollow. So after that, I added the black tissue paper from Keychron, which did help a tiny amount. And after that, I replaced the black tissue paper with some of the thin packing foam and it made a huge difference. As of now, this is probably my favorite configuration on the Keychron Q1. It has a poppy sound signature, but at the same time, it also sounds deep and rich and thonky.
Deep thonk.
Thonk. The space valve sounds really nice, and it also maintained a good amount of flex from the gasket mount. It still has a little bit of pinging and resonance on the arrow keys and on the right column, but that can be easily fixed with some more tape and foam. The Keychron Q1 is not original by any means, but it's a pretty good board. Now, I really like the GMMK Pro, but the Q1 is just a better choice overall. The bare bones kit is $20 cheaper, the typing experience is a lot more flexible and bouncy, and it's also a lot more customizable. You have the custom badge, and you can choose a rotary knob or just have a switch on the top right. There's just a lot more options that Keychron provides. In terms of the overall sound, I would say that the Q1 and GMMK Pro are equally as good, and it just really depends on how much effort you're willing to put into your board. Both of them can sound really good if you mod them correctly. So yeah, the Q1 is really good, just don't use it stock, you have to mod it or else it'll sound pretty bad. Alright, thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider subscribing, check out my Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and big thank you to all the YouTube members. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.